I felt more energy around student-centric practices and really wanting to get away from outdated practices that aren't helpful to students and we're just serving donors.
Hello and welcome to Scholarship Station, your platform to explore the scholarship field. I'm your host, Erika Orsulak from Students First Consulting. Julia Silva and Sarah Battersby are my colleagues at SFC, and they're with me today to take a look back at the 2025 National Scholarship Provider Association Conference, which took place the week of October 20th in Atlanta. NSPA is the most important annual conference in our industry, and we'll recap the trends we heard about this year, plus share a little about how scholarship providers are evolving their approaches. But first, Scholarship Station is a free service connecting members of the scholarship world to resources and ideas about how we can all better serve students. If you have a topic or a particular issue you'd like to hear discussed, please let us know in the comments below. On screen, you'll see my contact info as well as all of our handles in all of the places. Okay, Sarah and Julia, it's been 2 weeks since the conference by the time this video will be posted anyways. How are you both feeling about how things went at NSPA 2025?
Oh my gosh, it was such a blast. I felt like it was a little bit like summer camp where you're just like talking all the time with your friends and like staying up late to talk about it, and then you just have the most wonderful sleep because you're exhausted. But it was just so much fun to just meet our clients in person for the first time. Some people said I was shorter in real life, so
You are.
fun things learned. But also just to meet a bunch of new people who are doing incredible work in our industry, and I don't know, just learn from each other. I think we have just a very cool scholarship family.
Yeah, it was great to meet lots of people in person for the first time, not only clients, but folks I've been emailing with for years. My NSPA mentee from 2 years ago. We never met in person, to get to meet her. So great to see everybody in person. I definitely crashed a few nights. I remember turning out the light and then nothing else. So.
Yeah, those high school reunion vibes, that energy was so real. That part was amazing and totally, the whole thing was totally exhausting at the same time.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I crashed for like 3 days after.
I'm still not fully recovered. You mentioned something that I picked up on, which was we got to meet some of our clients for the first time in person. And in fact, both of your sessions, Julia, yours on pooled funds, and Sarah, yours on 529s, we had clients present with us. So talk a little bit about how that went.
Yeah, it was great to present with Ashley from St. David's Foundation on their implementation of 529s. And I think it was just so empowering for the folks in the room to see how it can actually work at an organization. It's one thing for me to talk about how it could work in theory, but then for her to be able to show not only how it worked, but pictures of their students and real results that their students are sharing. Hopefully made people in the room feel like they could do this. It's not just a theoretical concept, but one that they could actually bring home and implement.
I would say our session on pooled scholarships, I hope, was inspiring to other scholarship providers that offer multiple scholarships. It was amazing to have Mary Beth from the Cape Cod Foundation and Laura Gomez from the Austin Community Foundation and Harper Pulsifer from the Oregon Community Foundation, all on that panel talking about the different ways that they offer pooled scholarship funds at their foundation. And just kind of give some people a few different ideas for how they can manage scholarships in a way that's impactful for students, still motivating and inspiring to donors, and also easier to administer and gets away from that very niche donor criteria that is hard to find folks to apply for or hard to administer, and then maybe donors aren't as excited.
Yeah, I think I saw that. I had people coming up to me afterwards, after both of your sessions, to ask specific questions, talk about what might be possible. So I think there was a lot of enthusiasm around both of them. And just a quick plug, Sarah On the heels of your NSPA presentation on 529s, we're hosting a webinar on December 3rd. Sarah's going to lead that. I mean, she truly is the expert out there on how these work for scholarship providers. So December 3rd webinar, go to our website. We'll put the link in the comments, but sign up for that webinar if you want to learn more. And I'm calling it an ASA, not an AMA, Ask Sarah Anything. So there will be an Ask Sarah and an ASA at the end that will be invaluable. So be sure to sign up for that if you're into 529s or even just starting to think about them. Let me zoom out for a minute and talk about big picture trends. I wanted to get things like observations from you both about what you heard, saw about what was trending for, many practitioners in our industries, and also, for students and families.
I felt like there was, and not to say this hasn't happened in previous conferences, but I felt more energy around student-centric practices and really wanting to get away from, outdated practices that aren't helpful to students, and we're just serving donors, which I think is really exciting. I think people are really done with this idea of committing to doing things for donors that aren't actually impactful and serving students.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it, there's a lot of confusion around financial aid. So just hearing the institutional providers and the outside scholarship folks in the same room, the lingo is different. It doesn't always mean the same thing. Need at the institutional level is determined by things like the FAFSA versus outside providers may not use need as a criteria, but they're still bound by federal guidelines. So just offering some tools to break those down. Props to the folks at UC Berkeley who offered a really great session on what it actually looks like to package financial aid. So just I'm thinking a lot about how we can reduce that confusion, and especially at the student and family level, they don't have this lingo. They don't have the terms they need to ask for these things like dependency overrides or cost of attendance adjustments. So how can we help our clients, help their students understand how best to navigate their aid?
Did you hear of other creative solutions that you were excited about to maybe some of these more common and perhaps seemingly intractable problems that we often hear from folks in the industry? What are some of those exciting solutions that you picked up on at the conference?
Yeah, I heard from the folks at Pittsburgh Community Foundation that they're putting in all their new fund agreements future-proofing language. So thinking about they don't want to end up with these funds in 20 or 30 years that are unusable, that there's a plan. One of those options is moving into their pooled fund. So they are building in that conversation now to make sure that those funds continue to be usable as education changes, which I think is a great plan.
Well, I know for me, I heard a few big things. In fact, one of the providers attending the conference called me right afterwards, and she said, "Erika, I want to make sure that I tell you about one of the trends I picked up on, which was in almost every one of her sessions, scholarship providers talked about that higher education to career pipeline and how they were worried that students are struggling to find post higher education job opportunities. I know that came up, Sarah, in one of your sessions. Someone asked about how they can best do that. So I think that's really on the minds of a lot of folks too. Thank you for joining us at Scholarship Station. If you find this episode useful, inspiring, helpful, or motivational, please subscribe, like, and maybe even leave us a review. We love having you with us. I'm Erika Orsulak, the host of Scholarship Station from Students First Consulting. And joining me today are my SFC partners, Julia De Silva and Sarah Battersby. We are looking back at NSPA 2025 and looking forward to tackling the issues we heard most about at this year's conference. So NSPA was different this year for us because we had an exhibitor booth for the very first time. I would say that it was a lot of work. That's why I'm still not recovered. Yep. But I personally absolutely enjoyed having a meeting. It was almost a meeting point where we could talk with clients, we could talk with people interested in our service, we could talk to people who had never heard of us. And I loved having things like our giveaways, our t-shirts were such a big hit. Sarah's coaching packages were such a big hit. plus getting to meet all those newbies who came around to get their card stamped, who had so many questions about just scholarships in general. I think it was a big win for us to have that exhibitor booth. And what did you two think? Did you like having it as much as I did?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of work. It was a very different experience. I loved where we were located was right next to lunch and coffee. It was a great exhibitor setup.
Yeah, it was a great location right in front of the coffee stands all day. And so I'm a morning person, so I was able to get up early, go downstairs, have my coffee, chat to a number of folks that were also up early having their coffee. And that was a nice quiet time. For me, that's something that I value, to meet people individually.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's the way we're going to do it going forward. It was such a win. But I think a trend for me at the conference was hearing from practitioners, whether they're program leaders or whether they're program administrators, who want to try some of the things that they heard or some of the approaches that we offer and specialize in, but maybe their hands are tied because of things like budget constraints or red tape in their own organizations. So I just wanted to plug, especially for those who maybe don't know a whole lot about us yet, we have the capacity to take on big projects, which we often do with clients, these sort of transformative projects that take place over a longer time period. But we also offer some things that are free or can be covered with maybe what might be a professional development budget or just an end of the year, got to spend this budget. So, we offer our free consultations always, and we've got resources like Scholarship Station, we've got free webinars, we've got our blog, our amazing newsletter, which I was so thrilled to hear so many people talk about. And then we've also
Everybody
got
loves your newsletter.
The newsletter is a hit. If you're not on it, you should be on it. It's so great. And it's both a sneak peek into our lives, which are kooky sometimes, and full of practical, actionable ideas for your organization, things that you could really try to implement right away, or at least this cycle. So get on the newsletter if you aren't there yet. We'll put a link in the description so that you know where to go to do that. We've also got we offer kind of a lower cost range of services, everything from, coaching packages to allow you to get some, time limited, but really intensive support. And we've also worked with providers to do what I think of kind of quick, but very impactful strategy sessions. We've got our audit ready toolkit to help make sure that your scholarships are compliant and things like that. So we are full of resources. We're really able to work with organizations at all places and with all budgets. So just a note to make sure you know that you can reach out to us regardless of your budget. Plus, you could just take advantage of our free resources. Please do so. We want you to. So on the heels of NSPA, Sarah, on the heels of your 529 session, we have our upcoming webinar. It's really the next big public thing that we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's really working for folks we know that have implemented it. There are a lot of choices and decisions to be made, which is why we're here to offer to help you get through those. So the webinar will walk through all of your options, the commonly asked questions that I get all the time and that I got at the conference, that folks who have signed up have already put in. So if you do sign up for the webinar, you'll have that opportunity to ask your questions. There's a lot to learn, but I think it is a great option that will actually, with some setup time, really, streamline your awarding significantly. Even avoiding displacement is wonderful, and it's a much simpler solution than making checks to 50, 100 or more different colleges.
Sarah, in that session, I remember that you showed a quick video that we created for St. David's Foundation that was an explainer to their students and families about how 529s work for scholarships. We essentially took the key points of that and turned it into a really short explainer video. People asked you for those videos. They wanted to be able to talk about 529s in a simple way with their teams, with their leadership. So if you're in that boat, if you want to see just a quick and easy to understand explainer, check out the one that we just posted on our YouTube channel, Scholarships and 529s. It's definitely worth a watch, and it's very easy, something you can really easily share with those in your organizations if you're thinking that this might be an option for you. So with that, I'm going to wrap up. Sarah and Julia, it was so great to have you. It was so great to see you at NSPA. We had such a good time together. Sarah, we fulfilled your dream of excellent pizza, which I'm thrilled that we were able to do that. But it was so great to be together at NSPA, and thanks for joining me for the recap today.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And finally, I want to thank everyone who's joined us today. It's always a joy to have you on board. Remember to like and subscribe to Scholarship Station. It's your platform to explore the world of scholarships. We'll see you again soon.